habitual thing to do, but I'm going to ask you to start monitoring and observing your internal dialogue so that you can know what you're manifesting. And then I urge you, once you recognize what you're manifesting, to start creating a habit of saying, I manifest what I want, not what I don't want. And it's a really important practice to get into. You know, the other day I was talking about having to go get a truck to get all the drywall delivered. And we needed to get it here by 7 o'clock in the morning on Friday. And I made a joke and I said, Adam will divorce me if I ask him to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go deliver drywall. And then I thought, wait a minute, I mean, of course he's not going to, but why would I even think a thought like that? And then I recognized, no, he's not going to be happy if I ask him that, but he's not going to divorce me. But we say these things so carelessly. And I changed and I went, no, he's not going to be happy about it, so I'm not going to ask him. We'll make some other arrangements. And we got a moving truck and we'll be here till 9 o'clock at night. But it's just the simple thoughts that we say. We think they're innocuous. The universe listens to every single thought that you have. Those of you that have studied are aware of the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records have a recording, a writing down of every one of your thoughts and feelings and experiences in every lifetime, in all space, all time, all dimensions. Everything about what you have said and done is recorded. That doesn't mean it owns you. It doesn't mean it defines you. But it is simply determining how it is that you wish to be served. So if you don't like how it is that you're being served, start requesting different things. If you ordered chicken at the restaurant and you don't like it, cancel the order and order something else. It's okay to send it back and order something else. You and I and we are in charge of our destiny. There are things that we may have chosen as a way of learning something in this life, and people call that karma or destiny or contracts or predetermined ways of going. And we certainly can go along with a design. I have a copy of blueprints over there that the contractors are supposed to go by to design this so that they can simply follow the instructions. But if they say something isn't working in here, we just sit down together and we redraw the plans. So yes, most of us are going through the motions of the plans that we drew down before we got here. But you are not absolutely 1,000% obligated to follow those plans to a T. As you learn and grow, as you evolve, you can change those plans because you are beings of light. And your personal sovereignty is intact at all time. So, October 7th, 2007, October 7th, 2012. Yeah, it took 5 years to manifest what you see, the molecular representation of my manifestation. But that didn't mean I had to wait 5 years to enjoy it. There was the journey all the way leading up to this day. The day I put that sign on my car and said, I'm the founder of the Temple of Light. And then putting up classes and websites. And this is our 3rd location. 4th if you count my home garage, my home office and my garage. So it was getting created every day in every way. And today isn't the first day of the creation. Today is just simply a presentation in a molecular form at a higher level, at a firmer and bigger way in time and space. And in 5 years, we're going to be sitting on the 7th floor of a beautiful building. And they're telling me it might take longer than 5 years, but does it really matter? there in the etheric. I'm not waiting for it. I simply understand that in linear time I have yet to see its molecular manifestation in front of me. But I know it's coming. I know it's getting created. So my topic today, as you know, for those of you that have been coming for years, we had guest speakers. And I was urged by Spirit many times to give up the guest speakers. But I was nervous and I didn't want to because I didn't think I was enough. I didn't have enough to say up here for an hour, and I had to supplement what I was doing with a knowledgeable guest speaker. And it took me a while to get past that form of limited thinking. But I did. Though we have guest speakers now, they're just not here in physical form. But they come and they talk to us. And each week, around Monday or Tuesday, I get the name of our next guest speaker. And so true to form, last week I was told that Sai Baba would come and talk to us. And I didn't know anything about him. All I knew is that he had a fro, and he wore an orange thing, and that he was a very high spiritual leader in India. But even not knowing anything about him, I could feel his energy, his gentleness. He was born in November 1926, and he crossed over on April 26th of 2011, only just a year and a half ago. His mother says that he was miraculously conceived, unlike his other three siblings, an older brother, an older sister, and a younger sister. And that he was always not the best student, but yet spiritually intellectual and exceedingly kind. Always being gentle, always talking to people. And when he was 16, he was bit by a scorpion, and he was unconscious for a few days. And when he came out of his coma, he manifested a bouquet of flowers, gave them to his parents, and announced that he was the reincarnation of Sai Baba of Shirdi, a Hindu saint that died in 1911. 4 years later, in 1944, he had his first ashram in his local village where he lived, created for him by his devotees. And for the next 50 years, from 1944 to 2004, when he fell ill in 2004 and stopped traveling and stopped creating open prayer circles for everyone, for that period of 50 years, the people who believed in him donated money and time. He created over 126 ashrams worldwide, schools, hospitals, alms centers for the poor. He created water systems where there was drought. He was probably known as one of the most generous and prolific philanthropists of his time. Even after giving most of his wealth away by the time he died, his net worth was $45 million on the day of his death, which all of that went out to all of his institutions, hospitals, and schools. And he lived a fairly modest life, all the way to his things. He was known for manifesting trinkets, jewels, and things right out of his hand. And he would wave his hand like this, someone would be in front of him, and he would wave his hand downward, and he would say, "It's coming, it's coming, it's coming," and then he would open his hands and there would be something there. And there were so many doubting Thomases that wrote books trying to debunk who he was and trying to say he was a fraud and a trickster and a magician. And there were many people that filmed him while he did this, and all of them at the end concluded there was no evidence to support any trickery. They could not prove, they could not even in the slowest motion see any kind of reaching for something here. It simply just appeared in his hand. And so they were never able to prove any kind of trickery. And there were thousands of people throughout the years that wrote books and followed him and studied him and saw these acts occurring again and again and knew is manifest. When we talked about Saint Germain a couple of weeks ago in Louis XV's court, they said the same thing, that there were enough people that saw him creating things out of thin air. And so what is that really? I manifested this temple. It didn't come out of thin air. It took quite a bit of while. But that was because of my limiting thoughts that said, it must be built. I have to go and find a location, and I have to find an architect and a contractor. And it was built in a molecular form and created because that was the limitation that I put on it. What if I'd had the power of mind and the gift of connection to spirit like Saint Germain or Sai Baba or Jesus of Nazareth, that says, I can simply see the molecular right here in front of me. It is only mine and yours and ours limited thinking that stops that from happening. And when I say limiting, I don't mean that in a judgmental way, but simply a thought format that limits the way things get created. And our spiritual journey, unbeknownst to us, is about lifting those ceilings and getting into a limitless form of thought. Because when we do that, we can create world peace, we can create world harmony. We can go beyond that and even heal other worlds of the galaxy that are having troubles, where their people have been caught up by limitless thinking. We have all these ideas about the other planets out there and their beings traveling to us through time and space in fantastic aircraft. And so some people think that we are the only planet out there that has unevolved life forms. But I would imagine there are as many billion of those as there are those that are advanced, because really, in time and space and dimension, there's not that much difference. If we can create that unlimited thinking here, can't that thinking go out all over the universe, into other worlds, other time, other space, other dimension? There are no limits to what we can do, what we can create when we open our heart space energy. And we can start right here. I mean, yes, putting little trinkets in your hand. He was known for doing flowers and coins. And one of the gentlemen that wrote about seeing him, his name was Howard Murfitts. And he was an investigator of supernatural miracles. And Sathya Sai Baba was one of his topics. And he wrote a book of him called Man of Miracles. And he writes a story of the first time that he met him. And he says, one evening, as we were at a party, and we were sitting on the carpet in his suite, Ramantha Reddy, the doctor, the young men, Iris and myself were there. And Swami asked me the year of my birth. And when I told him, I said what it was, and that he said he would get for me an American coin minted in that same year. He began to circle his hand downward in the air in front of us, making perhaps a half a dozen small circles, saying all the while, it's coming now, it's coming now, it's coming now, here it is. Then he closed his hand and held it out before me, smiling as if enjoying my eager expectancy. When the coin dropped from his hand to mine, I noted first that it was heavy and golden. On closer examination, I found to my delight that it was a genuine milled American $10 coin with the year of my birth stamped beneath the profile head of the Statue of Liberty. Born the same year as you, Swami smiled. What the skeptics say about this, I wondered. Would they suggest that Baba carried around with him a stock of coins so that he could give one to match my year of birth? Such old American coins, now long out of circulation, would not have been easy for him to obtain in a small Indian village through normal channels. Those are the kinds of attestations that we have. What is the likelihood? Yes, I suppose he could have known this man was coming ordered these coins ahead of time, found out his year of birth. Why would someone so generous of heart, who gave everything that was given to him back to society, need to perform such tricksters? Such a man who is generous of heart. It's difficult to believe, it's scary to believe that we have that much power and responsibility. And the reason people will look at ones like Swami and deny the gifts is because it frightens them that somebody should have that much power. When we look into our own hearts and we think that if we had that kind of power, and we doubt, would we be able to do that same goodness if that power were ours? And when we know there's pain and anger in our heart, we're afraid of what we would do with that power. And so the safest thing to do is to deny its existence. But Sai Baba had no such darkness in his heart, and so he wasn't afraid of what he would manifest. So because he wasn't afraid that he would manifest something bad or that would do harm, he was able to manifest things. It is the fear of who we are and what we are that cause us these things. It is our lack of self-worth, our lack of self-love, self-honoring, self-respect that causes us to believe that if we had that kind of power, we're afraid we wouldn't do good with it. And I know that all of us have lost our temper and said something unkind and had a reaction somewhere where we've done something that we're not proud of, me included. But rather than use that as a reason to not have the power to create, I instead use those occurrences to gauge the journey I have yet to take. And I forgive myself for being on a journey where I've made those circumstances get created by my own thought process. Note, I avoided the use of the word mistake. I do not make mistakes. I make experiences that teach me. And so I don't need to forgive myself for creating experiences that teach me and remind me. When you're learning to ride a bicycle, did you not fall down once or twice? That wasn't a mistake. That was learning how to ride a bicycle. So we have to have experiences that teach us to learn. And the key thing is that we take responsibility for our own experiences. But we remove ourselves from self-blame, remove ourselves from the self-judgment of making a mistake, and then we start loving ourselves, respecting ourselves, honoring ourselves, liking ourselves, thinking well of ourselves. And then we have all of that heart-spaced love and joy here inside in the temple of light, which is right here. And then we share that. And we would do no harm. If we do not harm ourselves, we cannot possibly harm anyone else. And if that's the place that we have got created, then we no longer have fear that we would create something that would harm somebody else. And then we get into a place where we get to create whatever we want, with low limitations. I, you, and we deserve to create anything and everything that is possibly in as far as the stretches of our imagination. Sai Baba, the reason that I liked him when I started doing some research, he was one of the first and the few to espouse interfaith. And he says in some of his, there were thousands of quotes on him, but I chose the one where he says, all faiths are interrelated and mutually indebted to each other for the principles they teach and disciplines they recommended. The Vedic religion was the first in time. Buddhism appeared about 2,500 years ago with its son and its daughter of Judaism and Christianity, which was influenced much by the Orient, and its grandson, and then Islam as a great-grandson. Following all of the prophets, all religions are born from each other, one caste, the caste of humanity. There was only one religion, the religion of love. There was only one language, the language of the heart. There was only one universal presence or God that is omnipresent. And there is only one law, the law of Dharma. Let the different faiths exist, let them flourish. Let the glory of the universe be sung in all the languages, in a variety of tunes that should be ideal. Respect the differences between the faiths and recognize them as valid as far as they do not exist to extinguish one another. And then one of his other famous quotes was, before you speak, think. Is it necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? Will it hurt anyone? Will it improve on silence? That's not a criteria that prior to reading that I employed, but I shall now. Do I have something to say that will improve on the silence? We underrate silence. Isn't that an interesting criteria to apply? Kind of makes you cut a little bit. Let me just butt my lip here and make sure that what I'm going to say is actually going to be something that is better than solitude and silent prayer and meditation. That's a pretty high standard to start placing on what comes out of our mouth. Yeah, I was going to take that up. Yeah, I'm going to. So let's bring Sai Baba in, shall we? Let's bring in his wisdom, his heart space energy. Want to bring him in a little time? Calling in Sathya Sai Baba, Swami, beloved one, who spent his life here, devoting himself to giving blessings, sharing love, sharing wisdom, and calling your energy. And I'm feeling his presence as a multi-dimensional being now, in a place of being an ascended master. His presence is with each and every one of us. I can feel his hands on my shoulders as he gives me a blessing. And he says, dear child, referring to all of us individually, open your heart to the language of love. Be present. Be kind to yourself. Through this heart space kindness, can you embrace the grace and beauty of your own humanity? As we bring these messages in, do we share this grace and this beauty of humanity with all around us? Love all whom you come in contact with. Open your heart to them. See them as the beauty and the grace of humanity that they are, alongside with yourself. Pray to God and to the almighty magnificence of the universal spirit to help you find the love in your heart that exists there heart space energy is the source of the universe's strength. It is that which carries the communication to all living beings of creation. It is the heart space energy. This is the language. This is not simply a warm feeling in your heart, but it is the universal language. It is the only thing that carries, the only thing that exists, the only thing that transcends all dimensions. This is the language of the heart. It is the energy that binds. It is the energy that creates. It is the energy that gives life. It is the energy that grows within us as a part of our being. Feel this expanding. Putting your hands on your heart, feeling it expanding, knowing its presence, knowing you are a being of love. And when you are a being of love, you are naturally a being of light. And light knows no boundaries. Light travels. Feel the love of the light expanding within you, going through all of your chakras, feeling that coming in, starting with your base, going all the way up to your crown, feeling the love align and clear them, strengthen them, expand them, sending love out to all, including yourself, starting with yourself. The more you expand the love inside your heart, does it extend and powerfully go out to all beyond imagination. Hold this energy so clear, so pure. Observe and guard, generate and create the energy inside your heart. This is the language of all universal beings of creation. Feel your cells in your body dancing with delight as the love permeates through each and every one and reconnects and realigns the blueprint of your DNA, and that every new cell created in your body is embraced by light and embraced by love. See yourself as ageless, timeless beings of light and love. Know this is true in the highest dimensions, in all place and time. And what a gift it is that you walk in human bodies having this wisdom of the universe guiding you in all principles, in all actions. Make love your religion and kindness your way of life. Embody these truths. As you speak gently to yourself, do you speak gently to others? As you speak to yourself with words of encouragement, words of patience, words of understanding, do you then gain the ability to always speak to others in this same manner? Patience. Patience with yourself creates patience with others. Blessings to you in your journey here.